step by step on business. That's on my mama, watch me spin on me and split, now I can't feel it. We in the trap, we sold the city on my biddy. Take these diamonds off and show you how we lit it.
What up, y'all? Welcome back for our next episode of Before the Horn podcast. I am your host, Dino, as well as with me, I got host Khalil.
Yes, sir. We back to part 3. Let's get it.
And I got my boy, Dede.
Yes, sir, Ski.
Man, this is episode 3. It's episode 3. Everything is coming along, man. We're loving the feedback, the comments that we're getting from you guys. Keep them rolling in. Keep them coming. This is what we do it for. We do it for you guys. So just keep bringing the interactions, man. We love it. But today we're going to be talking about our top 10 interior D-Linemen that's going to be going into the 2023 NFL season. That's, in our opinion, who we believe our top 10 going in is going to be. On top of that, we got what NFL team you think is going to make the biggest turnaround from last year, having terrible seasons, who's going to turn it around, make it a better year. We also got what player or players do we think has to have a good preseason. They have to have a great preseason to make that final cut. So we got a lot of players with that one. On top of that, we have all the NCAA conference issues, what's going on around the country with the NCAA. That is a big issue that's going on right now. We're going to cover that right here. And we got a little sprinkle of the U.S. women's national soccer team. We got to bring them up, man. Support our country with the U.S. So let's get it. Day, let's throw this off.
All right, man. So we're going to talk about what we think the top 10 interior defensive linemen are going into the 2023 NFL season. Khalil, I'm going to let you kick this one off. I know you got a lot of explaining to do. I just want to hear your list because I just know this is going to piss me off. So, Khalil, you go ahead, go first.
Honorable mentions first.
I don't have
honorable
any.
mentions
I
first.
just did.
You don't got
10.
none?
I just did.
Okay.
No, I'm not doing no honorable mentions. I just
Cool.
listed my
I did 10 as well.
10. If you didn't make the 10, you're out of here. I can't.
Yeah, all right. Hey, Khalil. Hey, for this, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go 10-1. Again, we're gonna go 10-1. All right, so Khalil, start with your number 10, bro.
Number 10. At number 10, I got Duron Payne for the Washington Commanders. He's a solid interior lineman. I think he's been one of the consistent guys on that defensive line. One of the only bright spots that they have with the Washington Commanders. So for that, I got him at number 10. At number 9, I got his running mate, Jonathan Allen, at number 9. Yes, sir. Don't make that face. Fix your face. Jonathan Allen is my number 9.
Okay.
Big John Allen, right out of Bama, run stuffer, causes havoc in the middle. So I got the 2 Washington Commanders at 9 and 10. At number 8, I got Javon Hargraves of the San Francisco 49ers. I think he was kind of a product of what they had out there in Philly last year, but he showed a lot of bright spots with him and Hassan Reddick. I think those were their 2 best defensive linemen last year. He got his money in San Fran. I think he'd be good, especially playing alongside Nick Bosa. Definitely caused some havoc. At number 7, I got DeForest Buckner, big DeForest Buckner in the middle. Very athletic defensive tackle. One of the best parts about that Colts D-line, one of the bright spots he got. I think he's one of the defensive anchors and building blocks that they're doing right now, that they have right now in Indy, alongside a couple other guys that they have, but he's one of the main focal points. At number 6, you got to put respect on my guy, Christian Wilkins. I don't think he gets enough respect around the league. I don't think a lot of people mention him. But, yes, he's at number 6. At number 5, I got big Jeffrey Simmons in the middle. Yes, that guy is a monster. He's been a monster for a few years now. Another guy that I think do not get as much love as he should. Just because of the team he played on, especially in that division. Everybody like to focus on Derrick Henry, but focusing on the defensive side of the ball, he's that defensive anchor. He brings it year in and year out. Number 4, I got Big Dex Lawrence. I think last year, he's been good. Don't get me wrong. He's been a good NFL player, but last year I think he took another jump to get into that top 5 deep tackle range. Like I said, I've said this before, I'm not really big on the Giants. I don't think it's really their offense. It was more their defense and Saquon Barkley. And that defense is anchored by Dexter Lawrence, causing havoc. I believe he should be getting paid soon if he didn't get paid already. Number 3, Quentin Williams, Mr. Bless You, Thank You himself, that's another guy last year, he started off slow coming out of college. We thought he was going to, tear over the league, but he's developed, and I feel like he's developed into like the third best defensive tackle in the NFL now, especially with that Jets defense, what they got on the outside with Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, they just drafted this year in the first round. Quentin Williams is definitely a problem in interior lineman. At number 2, I got Mr. Aaron Donald himself. Yes, I had to drop him.
No.
I had to drop him. Yes, respectfully. Last year was not one of his best seasons. He's a guy who has been uncertain. He's been uncertain.
It's going into next year, though, bro. You think he's not going to be number 1?
Yes. No.
What?
No. Because here's the problem.
Let him talk.
He's been thinking about retirement for too long. He's been talking about retirement and all this stuff. He has 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and you could kind of see it. He's still a havoc. He's a wreck on the defensive end. He is, but I cannot put him against my number 1, Chris Jones.
Stone Cold Jones.
Chris Jones was the best defensive tackle last year. He's the best defensive tackle going into this year. He's going to get his money from Kansas City eventually. They're going to pay him, and when they pay him, he's going to be that anchor. He's been that anchor for them for the past couple years. Last year, with Aaron Donald taking a step back, I think he took a step up into that number 1 spot. He's that one bright spot, big name on that Super Bowl winning defense. There's not a lot of players that you can name on that Chiefs defense, but you can name that guy. Every time you play against the Chiefs, you better know what 95 is, and you better block him because he's going to cause havoc in and play out. So, yes, Chris Jones is my number 1.
Honestly, bro. That's a solid list, but I'm just have to disagree with the last
bro,
2, bro. I don't know, but that's your list, though. I don't know about that.
My thing is, you banking over Aaron Donald. Like, one, he's been talking about retirement. He took a step back last year. You think he's just going to regain what he had, knowing he's 1 foot in and 1 foot out?
He's been doing it since his rookie year. He's been
a
top 10 player in the whole league.
Bro.
He's arguably probably the best player in the NFL.
Bro, Aaron Donald is the LeBron of defense in the NFL, bro.
Absolutely.
He's never had a peak. He's been
doing it since he got drafted in 2013.
He's gonna be the number 1
2014
defensive player until he retires. Until the day he retires, he's gonna be the number 1 defensive player in the league.
You can factually tell me that Aaron Donald had a better season than Chris Jones last year.
He was injured most of the season last year.
But this is going into next season, bro.
Are you tripping?
Going into next year.
Do you not know what league we're talking about right now? We're talking about the NFL, right?
It's what you do for me now.
What have you done for me lately?
I understand that, but Aaron Donald has done it for the last over 10 years.
Listen, it's not about your resume, because if it was about your resume, Matt Ryan would still have a starting quarterback job.
Matt Ryan sucks, man. Matt Ryan trash.
He
wastes his time. It's not about your resume. It's not about your resume.
Matt Ryan and Aaron Jones and Aaron Donald is nowhere near even the same comparison on their respective sides of the ball. You know what I'm saying?
You come in like I knocked him down
1 year. He was a number 1 player.
I knocked him down to like 7 or 8. He's number 2. I just think Chris Jones.
That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like.
No, you just have to put respect on Chris Jones.
All right,
Dino, I respect him.
Dino, you go ahead, man. I don't want to go next anymore. Dino, you go, bro.
All right, man. So I got 2 honorable mentions, and I'm gonna make them quick, and they're both from my respective team. I felt like they both could have made the list. I'm gonna be honest, from what I'm hearing that they doing in camp, we already know what Jordan Davis could do as long as he keep his wind up. But I've been hearing Jalen Carter has been making our what?
Y'all about to have me all go.
Y'all about to have me leave. I'm an Eagles fan, but bro, you're reaching.
How?
You're nowhere near top 20. They're not even top 20 yet. Jordan Davis is not even top 20.
Jalen Carter hasn't played a snap in the NFL. And Jordan Davis is a 2-down player.
Exactly. That's why they're honorable mentions. Relax.
But they're not even supposed to be honorable mentions.
Bro,
that's what you mean.
Bro,
this is going into next year. This is going into next season.
Let him go.
This is going into next season. It's what I feel like they're gonna do going into next season. I'm not talking about what they did already. I ain't talking about that.
Bijan Robinson,
he didn't do anything.
Number 1 running back position, bro.
Exactly.
Like,
Bijan Robinson's already projected to make the most out of every running back in the league right now. So
that's money wise. But
what you mean?
Money wise because of draft pick. Bro, we're
Man,
talking,
look,
bro. We
Let him
can't.
go.
I'm
Let him
standing
go.
on
Sit
it.
here.
I'm standing
Let
on
him
it,
go.
bro.
Khalil, let him
I'm
go.
standing on it, bro.
Go
They're
ahead.
gonna have
Start
pretty
with,
good seasons next year, both of
start
them.
with
But
number 10, bro.
number 10, I got my boy Jonathan Allen from the Commanders. I always like Jonathan Allen. You know what I'm
Yo,
saying? What? Go
nothing. Go ahead.
ahead.
Go. Go ahead.
All
Go, bro. Go.
right. I got Jonathan Allen from the Commanders, man. He's a like Lil said, man. He's a good run stopper. He adds to that great defensive line that they got there. And if they stay healthy, they're gonna be that's gonna be a tough D line to mess with. At number 9, I got Javon Hargrave. We know what he did for the Eagles last year. We know he's the guy. He's going to the 49ers where they have a pretty good D line themselves. So he's gonna still wreak havoc there. He's still gonna do his thing. He got paid. He got his money. So expect for him to have a big year. At number 8, I got Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins he's been a dog for Miami since he got there. And I feel like he's not gonna do nothing less than be a dog for them. And he's just gonna keep growing, keep getting better. Number 7, I got Quentin Williams. He another one, man, Mr. Bless You, Thank You himself. Like you said, bro, he's a dog, bro. He's a dog. And it's funny because when you look at him, you don't think he would be that dog, but he's really like that, man. Going into next season, I feel like he's gonna be, if not the second best player on that defense, he's probably gonna be the best player on that Jets defense. Number 6, got Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons, like you said, Lil, he does not get a lot of love for the team that he's on, but he did set a new career high for his pass rush grade last year. So he's just gonna keep growing. He's another player that's great in the respective conference that he's in, and it's not gonna be nothing less than what he's been doing. Number 5, I got DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner is he's another one that's been growing since he's been out of college. I'm pretty sure he's still young. He's like 29. He's not.
Yeah, he's 29.
He's still. Yeah, he's still in them peak years where he could still make a name for himself, even more than what he already did. So I really feel like he's gonna make a big impact for Indy next year, and he's gonna have to if they want to succeed in any type of way. Number 4, I got Cameron Hayward from the Steelers. Cameron Hayward, he's been the Steelers guy for a minute, and if you look at the stats, they don't deny, bro. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. He's been top 5 to me for the last couple years. So I feel like he's not gonna do nothing less. That's why I got him at number 4. Maybe he bumps down to number 5, but I still feel like he's gonna be that guy. He's still gonna wreak havoc. Number 3, I got Big Dex from the Giants, man. That man right there, bro. If you ever seen somebody, bro, Big Dex takes old linemen and just tosses them. He really makes them look like little boys, man. And for what the Giants got going for them and their defense being pretty much what runs their team, and for a defense that pretty much run the team, I feel like Dexter Lawrence is gonna have to put it on his back, especially with all the stuff they got going on. And I haven't really seen them make too many adjustments in that range. So he's gonna have to keep doing it for the Giants. At number 2, I got Chris Jones. If you watch football, you know who Chris Jones is. If you watch the Super Bowl, you know who Chris Jones is. If you watch the last couple Super Bowls, you know who Chris Jones is. He's gonna forever wreak havoc in this league till he's retired. He's a number 1 that's just like Aaron Donald. That's gonna just keep going and keep. I don't know, man. Look, I don't even like Chris Jones no more because of what he did to my team last year. But
He didn't do anything in the
he's
Super Bowl.
still that
Kelsey
guy.
shut him down.
Ooh.
Kelsey and
Ooh,
Landon
Kelsey?
Kelsey and Landon Dickerson shut
Go
him down
look
in the
at
Super Bowl.
go look at the pressures though.
He didn't.
Go look at the
Okay,
pressures.
that's cool,
Go look at the What you mean
bro.
that's
He
cool?
didn't get
lot.
a hand. He didn't get a sack on Hurts. He didn't get nothing,
Bro, that's
I'm
the
telling you.
best O-line in the league. That's the best O-line in the league, especially the best interior. And
But
he still had pressure.
You're coming like he impacted Super Bowl by a great margin. He had minimal like margin.
He was putting pressure on them. He was putting
Bro,
pressure.
if
But it wasn't nothing crazy.
Bro, I'm sorry. Hurts would have probably rushed for 150 if he wasn't in the middle. Like, bro, he's that guy. And number 1, y'all know who number 1 is already, man. Aaron Donald. Like I just said, the LeBron of the defense in the NFL, bro. He is gonna always be that guy until he retires. That's a fact. He can talk about retirement as much as he wants.
Bro.
He can do it as much as he wants. He can keep saying, yeah, I'm gonna retire. Bro, it's not gonna happen. Aaron Rodgers is still a top 10 quarterback, and he's been talking about it for the last 5 years. So
Hey, you said
it
don't disrespect
doesn't
Aaron Rodgers.
matter, bro.
But here's the
It
thing,
doesn't.
bro. Here's
It
the
doesn't
thing.
matter
I'm
what.
not.
It does not
I'm
matter what he says. He just wants.
You gave your
Bro,
reason already.
I'm
he
not
just wants.
knocking him. You come in like I'll knock them down to like 4 or 5, bro. I just said he took a step back and Chris Jones took a step forward. Listen, y'all want to say he's the LeBron of the NFL? Cool. LeBron's not even top 5 no more. So let's stop it.
I can agree with that, but Aaron Donald is still the best player in this league. He is. He is the best
No,
player in
I'm
the
not
NFL.
I'm not gonna say the best player because that's Patrick Mahomes. But I'm gonna say best defensive player. Definitely go. Yes, he is.
Mahomes is number 2.
No.
Come on.
No.
Okay.
No.
Hey, I respect
That's
your
a
list.
different debate. That's a different debate. But
I'm not getting into that.
Come on.
I'm not getting into that.
Come
Man,
on.
No.
All right.
Let
Go
me
ahead,
go,
man. Let me hear yours.
Let me go, man.
Let me hear
Matter of fact,
yours, bro.
let me
I
go,
just
bro.
know he got a terrible list. His list
No,
is
I
terrible.
don't do me like that. Anyway, so I'm gonna give my honorable mentions as well, man. I got 2 honorable mentions. I got Vita Vea and Cam Hayward. All right, so at number 10, I got Javon Hargrave. All right, you know he did his thing in Philly. His best year was the 2022 season. 2020, he had an up and down year. 2021, he had a pretty better year, but 2022 was really he came on, and he's on San Fran with that stout D line. So he gonna make some impact there. But I feel like he was a little bit of the product of the system in Philly. And number 9, I got Christian Wilkins. That's a man that very underrated in the NFL when it comes to defensive tackles. That man is very disruptive. He's quick. He's fast. Ever since he came in the league out of Clemson, he's been one of the best, but he doesn't get talked about a lot amongst the top. But I got him at 9, respectfully. At number 8, I got Deron Payne for the Washington Commanders. This is another guy who's underrated. He doesn't get talked about too much because that Commanders defensive line is very, very stout. Like, he got a big payday this offseason as well. So, hey, Deron Payne, he one of them guys still. He got a lot of time left. Number 7, I got Defoe Buckner for the Colts. He's one of the most athletic interior defensive linemen in the NFL. I mean, he's 29 years old. He's pretty much him and Shaq Leonard are anchoring that Colts defense.
Don't say Shaq Leonard. Don't say Shaq Leonard.
I mean, Shaq Leonard took a couple steps back, but Shaq Leonard, I feel like he's gonna bounce back. Hey, all right, but still, I feel like Shaq, you gotta put some respect on Shaq Leonard's name a little bit. Feel me?
Yeah, when he's healthy.
When he's healthy, of course. At number 6, I got Jeffrey Simmons. Now, Jeffrey Simmons was in my top 5 last year, but he took one step back. All right. I mean, he's a great defensive tackle in that very underwhelming Titans team. I mean, they don't really have nobody else really too much on defense. So he's pretty much anchoring that defense. But in game prep week, if you don't assign who's going to attack number 98 or get him out to play, it's going to be a long day for you on Sundays and Mondays. Number 5, I got Jonathan Allen. Now, I don't know why he's at the bottom of your list, but he's been one of the top 5 defensive linemen for the last at least 4 years since he came out of Alabama for Washington. Yes, he has. That Washington D-line is stout because he's one of the reasons why that Washington D-line is stout. Don't do that.
Yeah,
and number 4,
everybody else on there.
Stop, bro. Listen, stop. He's very disruptive. He's one of the most disruptive interior defensive linemen in the NFL. And number 4, I got, bless you. Thank you. Quentin Williams. Like, hey, he that guy. I ain't gonna lie. His first half year in New York, I was like, ooh, this guy's looking kind of shaky, but he really came on and becoming a better defensive lineman in this league as we know it. And he's in that top 5 as we speak right now. Plus, he's got a big payday. So he's going to be part of the Jets' future for a long time. For 3, I got Dexter Lawrence. He's been one of the most young, disruptive interior defensive linemen in the NFL as we speak right now. Like, hey, offensive coordinators, they got a game plan for number 97 on the Giants. I said most of the Giants' season last year was carried by their defense and Saquon Barkley. Just like Khalil said, I'm not too high on the Giants' offense. They got some weak spots on defense, but hey, he's not one of them. And number 2, I got Chris Jones. Chris Jones has definitely been one of these best defensive tackles in this league for a long time. He's really been one of those most disruptive players. He's been outstanding on that Chiefs D-line. He's the reason why the Chiefs defense is pretty goddamn good. He gets pressures. He gets to the quarterback. But he's not better than number 1, man. That's Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald has been one of the best players since he's gotten in the NFL. He's the best player, in my opinion, in the entire NFL. This man gets triple teamed every Sunday. If he don't get double teamed, if he gets single teamed, he's getting through. He's making a play in the backfield. Hey, I know he contemplates retirement a lot, but Aaron Donald is one of those guys. You cannot disrespect him and put him at number 2. I don't care what no one says. Every week, anybody in that division, or even time somebody plays the LA Rams, they're like, I wonder where they're looking for where's number 99. They're looking for number 99. They're sliding protection his way. And the other pieces of that Rams D-line, they not doing nothing too much. Let's be real. So, hey, that's my top 10 interior defensive linemen heading into the 2023 season.
Question.
What's up?
You gotta
Question
sound
for
like
you.
man.
Question for you. So, if you had Pat Mahomes and you had Aaron Donald on your team, and they both asking for top dollar, you can only pay one. Who you paying?
How old are they?
Same age. Nah, tripping. Nah, I'm talking about ass standing right now. right now.
Right now, Aaron Donald's he's not at the tail end of his career, but he's close to it. I'm gonna pay Patrick Mahomes, but still, Aaron Donald he's been consistently the best player in this league for God knows how long.
He's the best defensive player, bro.
Listen,
Best player.
all respect to Aaron Donald, bro. But this is the NFL, bro. What have you done for me lately, bro?
He was injured most of the season last year.
Bro, so he took a step back and somebody took a step up.
Right,
and
man.
That's like you sound like Madden giving him a 99 rating this year. Like
he deserved that 99. He's been that guy.
No.
Yes.
No.
I agree with that.
Last year? Nah, not for last year, bro.
He was injured most of the season. I know he had a step back last year, but bro, you can't put
I'm sorry,
Chris Jones over him,
gang.
bro.
I'm sorry, bro. If you was hurt, if you miss, I'm sorry, bro. If you miss more than 4 games, then you should not be getting a 99. Period,
bro. Because my thing would be then, like,
I'm
I would still
honest.
be ranking Michael Thomas high. Then, like, that
Exactly,
was the case.
word.
No, stop.
Like,
Michael Thomas he hasn't done nothing since 2019. Aaron Donald has done stuff since he got in the league as a rookie in 2014.
When he's played, he's looked good. When he's played,
he looked phenomenal. He looked
Jamal Chase should have had a 99. Jamal Chase should have had a 99.
Bro, come on, bro. Come on.
Just saying.
We're talking about Aaron Donald, bro.
Jamal Chase had over 1,000 yards and missed like what, 5 games? 4 or 5 games?
I understand that, but Aaron Donald missed way more than 5 games.
You're looking at his total resume. I'm not looking at the total resume. I'm looking at what have you done for me lately. Like that's what
he took a small step back this past season, bro. He was injured, and then when he was playing, he looked like phenomenal, like he usually does. But are you telling me?
So even when he played, he didn't look that good.
He looked pretty good. He looked phenomenal.
Pretty good as best player in the NFL,
bro.
I didn't think pretty good was ever best player in the NFL. You have to be looking dominant. You have to be dominant, not pretty good. He looked pretty good. Like a lot of people look pretty good. Daniel Jones looked pretty good last year.
Stop. He trashed. Let us know what y'all think in the comment section about our top 10 interior defensive linemen heading into the 2023 season. Let us know who had the best list. Let us know on our Instagram as well who had the best list. It's most likely going to be me, but we're not going to talk about that. But hey, interact with us. Let us know which one of us is tripping. Let us know who y'all think we missed, who y'all think should be added. Hey, but that's it for that topic, man. We're going to move into the next topic. Our next topic is what NFL team that had a down year in 2022, who do we think can make the biggest turnaround going into the 2023 season? Khalil, you go first, bro.
Okay, so the team I got, I don't think they make the playoffs or anything like that. But given where they were last year, they have no choice but to turn around. And the team I picked was the Chicago Bears. This team went 3-14 last year. They over under this year 7.5. So that's about a 4 to 5 game jump that got them making this year. But I mean, if you just look at where they were rated at, let's take a look at the offense, for example. They were 32nd in pass attempts, 2nd in run attempts. So they did not believe in the pass game at all. They were the least pass attempts in the NFL last year, right? That's definitely going to change. When you added DJ Moore, you added Robert Tiny, you still got Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool. They were 29th in sacks with 58, but their sack rate was worse in the league at 13.3%. That was worse in the league by 3%. So for them to be 29th in the league in sacks, also attempting the least amount of passing, lets you know how bad that offensive line is. So I think they shore that up with Nate Davis that they got for the guard, and then they drafted with their first round pick, Darnell Wright. So I think they're minimize some of that right there. Their bright spots were their yards per carry, their rushing yards per game, especially when Justin Fields, he arguably could have set the record for the most rushing yards in the NFL last year if he would have played in Week 18, but he didn't. But they led the league in rushing. They led the league in rushing per attempt. So I think that stays where it's at. But I think they increased their points per game. They only scored 19.2 points per game last year. So I think they increased that, especially yards per game as well. They was only 28th in yards per game as well. So I think they increased that. But we knocked the offense a lot for their mishaps, but I feel like we don't knock the defense at all. They were 32nd in points per game last year. They gave up the most points per game last year with 27.2. So what do? You go out there, you spend a second round pick on a defensive tackle, you get the D tackle, I can't think of his name, the D tackle from Florida. Then you go get the corner from Miami, Tariq Stevenson, in the second round as well. They got Yannick Ngakoue a couple weeks ago. You go out there, you get TJ Edwards, who just had 159 tackles last year. You go get a Tremaine Edmonds, who had over 100 tackles every year he's played in the NFL. I like what they got with Jaquan Brisker, Kyler Gordon, Eddie Jackson. So they have some solid pieces. So
Jalen
I don't
Johnson.
think they're Jalen Johnson. So I don't think they would be the worst team in the league next year. They also added DeMarcus Walker. He had 7 sacks last year. So he's definitely going to come in and make an impact as well. So they spent a lot of money on that defensive side of the ball to shore that up, especially with their head coach. He is a defensive. He's supposed to be the side of the ball that he specializes in is supposed to be defense. So I believe that defense takes a major jump this year. So for those reasons alone, since they were bottom in the league in so many stats, I don't think they have no choice but to take a huge jump and probably the biggest jump out of all these teams. I don't think they make it to the playoffs. I don't think they're a playoff team yet, but they're putting the pieces together to where they can start to compete and actually look like a good, solid, rounded football team. I think their offense and their defense get somewhere around the top 20s, maybe low teens. I think they'll be around there, but I think they'll be the biggest jump this year.
Hey, that's not a bad team. That was actually my second team. I'm going next, by the way. This is my team. I think they'll make the biggest turnaround going into the 2023 season. I got the Cleveland Browns. Now, hey, if you know, you know. I'm a big Deshaun Watson fan. Now, I know what you're going to say. Oh, Deshaun Watson, after his suspension, he came back. He looked pretty awful. Mind this man took almost 2 years off of football. Before that, he threw for over 5,000 yards with a horrible Houston Texans offense. Like Brandon Cooks was his only receiver. And Will Fuller was suspended for a year for PEDs. He's also injury prone. And plus, that organization never liked Deshaun Watson. Like, ever since he got paid that big contract, he wanted out. They didn't. Stop, bro. Stop it. He been wanted out. They paid him, and then the year after that, he wanted out. He had no help. They traded his best.
They were trash. That's
exactly. They traded his best receiver. They traded at the time. He was a top 5 receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. But let's be real. I would want out too.
Coach as a GM.
Okay, you're proving my point. Anyway, back to my team, the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson, about to show y'all why he's definitely still a top 10 quarterback in this league. I mean, let's be real, man. Like, look at their offense. Amari Cooper. You got David Bell still in there. You got David Njoku. He's inconsistent, though. David Njoku. He's a top 10 tight end. Let's be real. That offensive line, I think, is the second or third best in the league, in my opinion, still. Nick Chubb at running back, arguably probably the best running back in the NFL. They brought in Elijah Moore from New York. Hey, that offense to me sounds pretty solid, especially with Deshaun Watson at the helm. They're gonna put up numbers. They're gonna surprise a lot of people this year. And their defense, you have, I would say, the second or third best edge rusher in Myles Garrett. And we're gonna get to edge rusher rankings in the next episode. But Myles Garrett is still on that defense. They brought in Rodney McLeod and Zadarius Smith. They still got one of the best underrated corners in the NFL who doesn't get talked about a lot, in Denzel Ward. They got Anthony Walker still, who had a lot of tackles last year. So this defense, they got a little bit of holes, but Kevin Stefanski can get this team right. Like, let's be real. It's not Baker Mayfield at the helm. It's Deshaun Watson. I feel like when you got Deshaun Watson at the helm, you are capable of anything. Like, this guy is a stud. So, honestly, I ain't really got too much to say. I think Cleveland Browns, give them, all they need is an invitation to the party. All they need is to get a foot in the door. If they get into that party, which we talk about the playoffs, they can turn up and make some noise. Now, they're going to be probably third in their division. Let's be real. Bless you. They're probably going to be third in their division. But the way the seedings are set up in the NFL playoffs is 1 through 7. They can probably get that 7th seed. Probably can fight for 6. You need to fix your face, sir. Like, what's the issue with what I said? What's the issue with my team?
I don't have an issue with where you got them rated, them being the third best in that division, and them possibly making the wild card round. But as a big jump, I don't see that as a big jump being third in the division. Like that is not a big jump to me.
Let's be real. They're in a division where the team leading the division just made the AFC Championship back to back, and it's the Cincinnati Bengals. They still got Lamar Jackson and that Baltimore Ravens led by John Harbaugh in that division. You can't disrespect them just because Lamar has been injured most of the time the last 2 years. You can't discredit that. So yes, that's your 1 and 2. The Ravens and the Bengals are going to fight for that 1 and 2 spot in the AFC North. That leaves the Cleveland Browns for number 3. I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers, they got too many holes.
So you're not giving them a chance to even compete for the division?
Who, the Browns?
Yeah.
Those divisional games are going to be pivotal. They're going to make it a fight, but those top 2 teams in that division are really tough to beat. Let's be real. But they could get in the playoffs. They can fight for a wild card spot. And I think the Browns can get a wild card spot. I'm not even trying to be funny. I really think they can get a wild card spot.
Listen, like I said, I don't have no issue with the Browns, being a wild card team and nothing like that. It's just a big jump would be them competing for the division, in my opinion. Especially with the Joe Burrow injury, like the door is open. Especially if they talk about Joe Burrow might miss the first month or so, the door is open for them to compete for the top seed. Like that's where a big jump would be to me. If they make it third seed, it's like okay, this is kind of expected where they should be. Like they just lived up to expectation, I guess.
But that's coming back from a poor season last year when Deshaun Watson missed more than half of the games, bro. Like with number 4 at the helm, I'm telling you, anything is possible, bro.
Didn't they have like 7 wins last year?
Yes, and they're gonna get at least 9 or 10. I got them for that. I'm being serious. That division is very tough. Jump. It's still a jump, and they didn't make the playoffs last year. They can make it this year. They had no chance to make the playoffs last year. Pittsburgh had a better chance of making the playoffs last year than them. Like, come on, bro. What we talking about here? Again, hey, Deshaun Watson about to show y'all why he's still top 10 in the league. He about to put on a great season for y'all. Y'all stay tuned and watch. Dino, you go ahead and end this topic off, bro.
I mean, y'all honestly, both of y'all took both of my picks, but I got y'all not gonna like this one. Y'all not gonna like this honorable mention I got. But for the division that they're in, and for the year that they had last year, I'm gonna bring up the Houston Texans. The division is not the best. They don't have a pretty good division that they're going against some top dogs, any contenders at all in the NFL. And for the Super Bowl, they have no contenders in their division. But when you look at the additions and the players that they got coming back, we know they had a pretty young team. Jalen Petrie, that safety, he's gonna get better and better.
He's already a stud.
He's gonna get better and better.
He's a dog.
If you could keep, bro, yes. If you could keep Derek Stingley healthy, I feel like he's gonna be a pretty good corner in the league to come on. Y'all know I've been a Derek Stingley fan. But you draft C.J. Stroud, who is my favorite quarterback in the draft for my bias reasons, and y'all know why.
I'm gonna say Ohio State bias, bro. We know
for my bias reasons, and I'm
not even gonna get into it.
We know,
we
know.
I'm gonna, but I don't want to hear you talk about C.J. Stroud and that. Like, I don't want to hear you talk about
C.J. All right, you got it. But as far as his supporting cast, they're not bad. It's not bad. John Mechie's pretty good. He's coming off of that year that he had to sit out because he had, leukemia or something?
Yeah,
leukemia. Leukemia. I'm glad he beat that. He's back to play. He's looking good in camp. That's great. He's probably going to be the number 1. If not, probably somebody like Noah Brown or Nico Collins, somebody that Noah Brown ain't been there, but he's an older guy. But Nico Collins been there. So he's probably going to end up being the number 1. You add on Tank Dell, who was a late, third, fourth round draft pick. He was a mid-round draft. He was a mid-round draft pick. He's pretty small, but I feel like he's going to bring a lot of explosiveness to that slot position, and he's gonna be able to get open. I mean, we've seen it. He has Jalen Camp. Jalen Camp is not a big name, but he's some depth to their offense. They brought in Devin Singletary as a running threat. He's not the best running back, but again, they brought somebody in to back up Damon Pierce, who's actually pretty good. Damon Pierce is not that bad.
Oh yeah, no, he's really good.
If he stays last year.
He's not bad at all. In the depth, you still got Johnny Johnson III. I know Lil, you know you like that guy from Oregon. Johnny Johnson is like that. If he gets a chance, I feel like he's gonna be able to put something on because that is a team that you don't really have any for sure studs. That's a team where you're gonna have to go and make a name. And I feel like they have a bunch of players that can come there and make a name for themselves. They did sign Robert Woods, who is another vet that played. Well, he didn't play in the Super Bowl, but was on a Super Bowl winning team. They got the twice. Twice. You're right, twice
with the Rams.
They got the tight end Brevin Jordan, who's young, but he's gonna be backing up Dalton Schwartz, who they signed from Dallas. I mean, on top of the defense, they brought in the head coach DeMeco Ryans. He's that guy. He's that guy for the defense too. And then they went along and then drafted the best defensive player in the draft. So like, I feel like they're gonna do better than they did last year. Compete for anything? Not really. But as far as moving forward as a franchise, I feel like they was one of the teams that actually got better.
I got a question for you, since you want to bring up the Texans. What do you think they fall in that division? And who's better right now, the Colts or the Texans? I need to know.
Texans.
What you think, Khalil?
I'm gonna go Colts. I got the Colts being a little bit better, slightly better. Here's my thing: I don't have an issue with the Texans either. I just feel like they have so many deficiencies. They had so many deficiencies. Like I do think they're gonna take a jump just because of the amount of deficiencies they've had. That they're still probably like a year, maybe two. I'll give it two because they traded right. They traded away their first
I think
round
two
picks
for sure.
next year.
I think two for sure.
They don't really have no first round picks next year because they traded up for Will Anderson, so they kind of stuck with what they got. But it's not a bad pick. It's just a young roster that needs to develop.
Yeah,
they will develop though with DeMeco Ryans at the helm. DeMeco going to lead the boys right.
But truthfully, bro, the way I see it, bro, is I feel like they took a right step. I feel like they took a great step on drafting who they needed to draft for their future. On top of bringing in a couple vets to mold those players. Like I said, Brevin Jordan is going to be a backup now, but we know that he can actually. Yeah, to Dalton Schultz, who's been in the league, he's not
he had over 800 receiving yards last year.
Yeah, he's not a top guy. I put him in the top 10. Some people say I'm crazy, but I put him in the top 10 when it comes to tight end. Maybe around like 8 or 9 or even 7. But Brevin Jordan has a lot of upside that if he could get somebody to mentor him to play the tight end position, what the tight end position is nowadays, because it's not what it was back then. But Brevin Jordan fits that prototype. That's a step forward in your franchise.
And I feel like also with the addition of John Johnson III, him and Jalen Petrie at safety, that might be something to watch. I ain't gonna lie. That might be something to watch.
Yeah. The thing is, y'all didn't mention was the O-line. I think that's probably the one that's the brightest spot they have on offense. But I also think they're going to run into an issue, and this is what happens with a lot of young quarterbacks. You got to get them a number one. Cool, you got solid receivers. Don't get me wrong, they're good receivers. They could probably play in the NFL. Some we know can, some we got to see it. But he needs a guy. If you want to get maximize the potential of your young quarterback, you got to get him a guy. That's what every young quarterback. So it's just not CJ, but that's every young quarterback. So I think until he gets a guy, like a actual guy that he's throwing the ball to, like, there's going to be some growing pains and stuff like that that's going to occur.
All right, well, hey, those were our teams who we think can make the biggest turnaround heading into the 2023 season. Let us know what y'all think about our picks, and let us know what team y'all think will make the biggest turnaround going into the 2023 season. Staying in the NFL zone, we're going to move into our next topic. We're going to give our few players, 1 to 3 players, who we think need a good preseason or a great preseason to keep a spot on the 53-man roster for their respective teams. I'm going to start this one off. And I ain't gonna lie, all my picks are all offense. I'm an offensive guy, but these guys, they have not panned out to where they were drafted. Number 1, I'm gonna say Corey Davis, wide receiver for New York Jets. Last year, Corey Davis had over 500 receiving yards last year, but he only had 2 touchdowns. But when he was targeted by quarterbacks, he only gave quarterbacks a QBR of 76. That's really not good at all. Now, he has not panned out since he was drafted. He's a first-round draft pick. He was drafted by Tennessee. That Titans offense was pretty weak back then. Like, they really had no receivers, and he hasn't really panned out to be the number one that he was drafted to be coming out of Western Michigan. Now he's on a Jets team where they already have the rookie of the year last year in Garrett Wilson. Aaron Rodgers brought over Alan Lazard. He also brought a Randall Cobb, and they also bought a Mecole Hardman. Now, I know Randall Cobb is 33 years old, but he's not going to be the odd man out with his friendship with Aaron Rodgers. Neither is Alan Lazard with how consistent he can be at sometimes.
He went for a reason.
That's what I'm saying. So, in my opinion, Corey Davis is like kind of the odd man out if you got to make cuts. He needs to step up, and he needs to get a spot guaranteed on the 53-man roster, so he needs to turn up. Number 2, I got running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, this man was drafted in 2020 during the COVID season. His rookie year was pretty darn good. Let's be real. It was pretty good. He was playing for a stout offense already. He was RB1 coming out of rookie. Bro, he was. Cut it out.
No, I'm not. Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Drafted at LSU in 2020. Since his rookie year, though, he has not had too much crazy production. And he has a lot of injuries. Let's be real. He lost his spot to a 7th-round draft pick in Isaiah Pacheco. Shout out to New Jersey for that. But Edwards-Helaire got to step it up. Like right now, in my opinion, he's the RB2. And they got Jerick McKinnon as well. Don't forget about that. Jerick McKinnon.
Jared McKinnon leaving. He's not going to be there. They're not going to be there.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Y'all don't think so? Y'all think he's going to stay? Right.
Yes. Right now, Jerick McKinnon is arguably probably the RB2, RB3. And they use him for a lot of things. Jerick McKinnon is still that guy. Don't forget it. Hey, right now, they drafted rookie, Deneric Pierce. They say he's having an outstanding camp. They say he's great at catching the ball at the backfield. And they say he's great on special teams and kick and punt returns. So they probably found their return man. Sky Moore doesn't pan out well. So I don't think Edwards-Helaire is going to get cut, but he could be looked at getting traded. The Chiefs, he's still in his rookie contract. So if the Chiefs cut or trade him, it won't really affect the cap too much. Last but not least, this is frustrating me to even think about this, that the Eagles drafted this man with their first round pick in the 2020 season. And this man has not panned out. He was drafted before Justin Jefferson, which still makes me cringe to this day. And that's Jalen Reagor, wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. This is this man's second team. He has not panned out at all. Yes, he's fast.
He's still on the Vikings?
Yes, sadly.
Yeah, he's still on the Vikings.
I don't know how
he's about to be number 4.
Exactly. I don't know how this man's still in the NFL. This man has dropped balls in Philly, muff punts. He's just very frustrating to watch. Eagles got rid of him. During preseason last year. They traded him to Minnesota. They actually fleeced Minnesota for a draft pick. This man goes to Minnesota, still dropping balls, still muffing punts, still running the wrong routes and making Kirk Cousins throw interceptions.
Somebody in here was high on him too.
It wasn't me. It was probably this man, Dennis. But he left. But
I bet it was defending that pick when he made it.
Hey, come back, sir.
Boy, I was ready to fight for that man, boy.
That's what I'm saying. This man was fighting for Jalen Reagor. I told him the Eagles should now have selected Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. He was like, Justin Jefferson is just a wide receiver. Jalen Reagor is an athlete. Jalen Reagor is trash.
He's a playmaker. He can play.
That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, he's trash. So honestly, man, Jalen Reagor going into year 4, this is a contract year for him. If you don't get it together, I feel like the Vikings will either cut him or just find a trade bait for him. But who wants to accept Jalen Reagor on their team? Even for a death, I don't want him on my team as a GM. I'm not lying. He has not done nothing since he got in the league. But those are my 3 picks, man. Khalil, you go next, bro.
All right. So I actually got 5 people on my list. I'll make them quick. Okay. 4 offense, 1 defensive player. It's a personal pick. Y'all probably wouldn't even think of him, but this is my pick. Number 5, I got Mekhi Becton. He played in a Hall of Fame game. He only played 7 snaps. He lacks confidence issues. He has weight issues. He doesn't trust his knee. And he's in a competition. Mind you, this is a first-round pick. He's in a competition with a 38-year-old Dwayne Brown right now. Like, he should be the no-question left tackle of the future. But with the injury he's coming off of, the weight issues, the lack of confidence, like, he's just not himself. I don't know if he got to go talk to a sports psychiatrist, whatever he got to do, but he got to bounce back, especially when you have a team that's trying to win now with Aaron Rodgers. You need guys that will be in there and play right now. So they got to figure out right now is he somebody that can play. Number 4, I got Trey Lance. He's had some good moments. He's had some bad moments in camp. Everybody has some good. What's so funny? What's funny?
Because
Tell me.
listen, no. I'm not laughing at your pick. I'm not laughing at your pick, bro. I promise. I'm laughing at how somebody here thought that the 49ers would really give this man a chance to play, and he has not panned out whatsoever. But my bad, bro.
Man, finish your picks, my boy.
Yeah, bro.
Finish your
Please. I'm
picks,
sorry for
man.
laughing, bro. I'm sorry for laughing, sir.
Here's my thing. He never really had a chance to play, in my opinion. He played his first game was in his first NFL start was in a monsoon. Like, come on, let's be
It's
real.
football.
It's a monsoon. Have you ever been in the monsoon?
Yes.
Bro,
Yeah.
like you throw a football in the monsoon and see how that goes. Okay then, but like that's his first NFL game. But there's a lot. You got Brock Purdy now. I heard he's been looking good. He had an exceptional day Monday. I think he threw 3 touchdowns in a row in the red zone. So I think it's just if he needs to go out there have a good preseason, either to be the QB2 to Brock Purdy, you know how the demons are in San Fran. Is no promise that he's like Brock Purdy stays healthy the whole year with the demons they got in San Fran. So it's either he go out there and solidify himself as the number 2, or he raises his value, his trade value, and the team out there trades for him and sees a future in him. So for that reason, I got him at number 4. I still like him as a talent. Hopefully, he gets another shot. Picture, don't do that. Number 3, Baker Mayfield. He has to win the job. This is Baker's last chance right now to actually compete for a starting position. Especially, you're going against Kyle Trask. You're the number 1 overall draft pick in 2018. You need to win that position. You need to win that job to show that you can still start in the NFL. If you can't beat out Kyle Trask, you're going to be holding the clipboard for the rest of your career unless an injury happens and you go out there and have a Ryan Tannehill, Geno Smith moment. Then that's another story. But if you don't do it, if you don't beat out Kyle Trask, you will be holding the clipboard come this year and next year. So for that reason, he's my number 3. Number 2 is Malik Willis. I like him. He has some upside, big, strong, fast, physical kids. But they went out there, they drafted Will Levis with the second round draft pick, and they're in a battle. And there was reports before camp that he may not even be the QB3 on his roster, that he may end up getting cut. I personally don't think that would be fair for him, but I think he has to go out there in these 3 games and show that he developed from his rookie year to his sophomore year. I don't expect him to be a great passer or anything like that between seasons, but show improvement. Show that you can improve from your rookie year to your sophomore year. If you could do that, you'll have a spot on this team, and you'll be competing with Will Levis for that second QB2 spot, and maybe he gets it. And my personal number 1 was our 2021 draft pick for the Saints, Peyton freaking Turner. He has literally done nothing for our team. This is like he's in a battle with Carl Granderson. I think was like a 5th or 6th round draft pick, and this is our number 1 overall draft pick. Like there's spots on this D line to be had in New Orleans, and it's up to him if he wants one of them. If he plays up to the challenge for one of them, like he's going into year 3 now. He gave us nothing in year 1 and 2. So it's either make it or break it, because after this, the Saints will look to move on from Peyton Turner if he does not give them anything like he's been giving them to start his career.
That's all this. I actually agree with the Malik Willis pick. His first start was against Patrick Mahomes on Sunday Night Football. It's like they kind of was like, here. But in a way, though,
you just throw a guy in the fire.
Yeah. By the way, Malik Willis is fast with a strong arm. His accuracy is horrible. I feel like he's another Anthony Richardson. But I'm not getting into that. Dino, you go.
I know a guy that's just like that. That got drafted 4th overall this year.
I'm weak. I start off with I got 3. I'm gonna do my first 2 because they was already said, but my first 2 is number 1, Trey Lance. Trey Lance, he's been looked at as like a failure to 49ers fans, man. They hate it. They hate to see what went on with him after being a first round draft pick. He is looked at as a number 3 quarterback in that QB battle right now behind Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy, which is really saying something to be a number 1 draft pick, to be behind a former number 1 draft pick that we already seen hit the can, and a 7th round draft pick, Mr. Irrelevant. He's got to have a great preseason for him to get that number 2 spot.
I don't think none of them are good, but that's not my business.
I like Brock Purdy. I've been saying
before
course,
you go
here we
into
go.
your next one, I feel like it's kind of unfair to him, given the circumstance of look at everybody else who's been drafted around when he's been drafted.
Nah,
They've gotten a chance to play. He hasn't gotten a chance to play yet. He hasn't had the
I feel
chance to
that.
grow. Bro, think about it, bro. Jordan Love is going into his 4th year right now. And they're giving him the keys. They're letting him. They're going with him. They're like, oh nah, he didn't develop good enough. No, they're riding with him. So like,
but he's better than Trey Lance.
I understand. I understand
how
what
do
you're
you
saying.
know that? How do you
understand.
know that?
We've seen a small sample size, bro.
Listen.
Bro.
Listen. I understand what you're saying. Look, that's a fact. It is kind of unfair. You got to see how somebody plays. But at the end of the day, the first initial process of evaluation is where? In practice, in camp. If he's not competing in camp against practice
in camp,
squad,
yes, he has. Look at the report. He looks horrible.
They say he looks bad in
He's
camp,
had
bro.
no. I've seen reports. He had good days. He has bad days. You're going against
more bad than good.
I'm sorry, bro, but if you're not better than a Sam Darnold in camp, you're not a starting quarterback.
Sam Darnold sucks.
Y'all coming like Sam Darnold was just dog trash. Like he was a third overall.
He's not a starter. He's not a starter.
Bro,
he's not a starter though, bro.
He's not a starter in this league no more, bro.
He was a third overall pick for a reason.
He's not a starter on any.
He has not panned out since he was drafted in 2018.
Okay, and he's not like he was in the best situations either.
Oh, Dino, go ahead. Bro.
Nah, he wasn't. But
the Jets. Come on, the Jets.
You're right.
Even when he went to Carolina, he did not play good at all. And don't bring up that Matt Rule stuff because the Panthers that year started like 5-1 and 6-1.
Matt Rule sucked.
He did suck, but the Panthers still started like 6-1.
Everything coming out of Carolina right now is that it's the whole 180 difference, culture change. Matt Rule was the type of coach that wants to be heard, that like try to assert his dominance. He was one of them coaches. Like compared to Frank Wright, it's a whole 180. There's levels to this, bro. Not everybody's a head coach, bro. Stop it, bro. He's played for trash head coaches.
Here's my thing. It's a couple things that I put into this for outlook. All right, you're playing in a Kyle Shanahan offense, which makes pretty much any player look like gold. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you can't really go out there and run that offense and beat out a Sam Darnold after you've been in that offense for 2 years and Sam Darnold just got there, that's an issue, bro. It's evaluation starts in practice. That starts in practice, bro. I understand. That's why I understand what you're saying. That's why to get to what I'm saying, I really do feel like if he has that great preseason, yes, he either takes that number 2 spot. And as we know in the Niners, bro, like Kyle Shanahan can't keep his quarterbacks clean. He can't keep them healthy. So a number 2 spot wouldn't be the worst position to be in if you're in San Fran. On top of that, if you raise your draft stock, you might go to a team that you can play in that offense. Maybe Kyle Shanahan offense just ain't for you. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe.
We don't really know. We always say Kyle Shanahan is definitely one of the best offensive head coaches that we have in this league, if not the best. But that still doesn't mean everybody can play on his offense.
He's one of the best.
I said maybe the best.
I think as well, though, bro, when it comes to Trey Lance, bro. Like, there's a reason why they were ready to give him the keys and move off of Jimmy G. Let's be real. Like, if he showed like he was so trash, they wouldn't have been willing to move off Jimmy G so easily like they were. Let's be real.
Jimmy G wasn't their first round draft pick. Jimmy G wasn't a first round draft pick.
They traded for him.
Right.
But he has not been the best.
With that being said, man,
he wasn't the reason why they went to the Super Bowl that year in 2020. Bro, you really giving Jimmy? All right, number 2. This man is mad. Hold on. This man just the truth teller. The truth teller is just mad that his man Trey Lance hasn't panned out. That's all it is. Like, just say you're wrong about Trey Lance. Just say you're wrong about Trey Lance.
I'm not.
All right,
I'm not.
Dino, number
Give
2,
him a
bro.
chance.
Okay,
all right,
get traded.
Just for that to be said, man. If Trey Lance goes out there and has a good preseason, he actually still has a chance to be a quarterback in the NFL, whether it's at the number 2 spot or he gets traded. But for number 2 is Baker Mayfield. You said this one too, Lil. Thing about Baker Mayfield, man, he is one of the most controversial players in the league right now. Sometimes he want to play like he's that guy. Sometimes he's Mr. Dangerous. Remember, like, that's how he feel. He feels dangerous. But since he got drafted in 2018, I'm pretty sure this is his 4th team that he's been on. And it's not looking too good in camp. Throwing 7 picks in 9 practices is giving Dak vibes right now. Like, this isn't looking good. This isn't looking like a starter. If you're in, it's no reason at all that you should be the number one overall draft pick, and you're in a competition with Kyle Trask still. I don't care. It should have been practice 2, and that should have been like, all right, he's our starter. I'm going to be honest. You're the number 1 overall draft pick. You should be that guy. You shouldn't even be playing in the preseason. Good. But the fact that you're in this battle still is you're gonna have to go play 3 games in the preseason. Yeah. Without these 3 games, he's not really gonna be that guy no more. And if he doesn't win this job, I think he should just kiss his career goodbye. So, and my number 3 for the guy who I feel like they already tried to give the keys to, not really, but tried to really put him in a starting position already, and that's Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean didn't do anything for us last year at all. He did nothing at all for the steal that we got him. And he's looking at being that guy. What's funny?
Bro, he was a special teams player last year. He was a special teams player last year.
Are you kidding me?
He was a special teams player last year.
5'2" linebackers. That just goes to show you how much he showed in camp.
That's what
we got it for depth because we need help. Like, our linebackers, the Eagles linebackers right now are special teams players.
You're right, bro.
We lost 2 starting linebackers last year.
I know, but I'm saying is y'all went into camp, y'all saw what y'all have in camp, and then said y'all need 2 more linebackers. That's what happened. That's literally what just happened in y'all camp.
Exactly my point, bro. We just went and signed Miles Jack and Zach Cunningham. Not too bad pickups. Not gonna lie, I'm actually excited about both of them. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like they're gonna be great additions to what we already have, which is really nothing at that linebacker position. So if he doesn't come out and have a good preseason, if he doesn't come out, that's why he's a premier player right now.
I got you.
Bro, that is the reason why he's taking the big pictures and looking like that top guy right now, because who else do we got there?
So then why would you put him in this ranking?
No. Because he does. Well, he does need a good preseason. Because if he don't,
he needs to play. Yeah, but we brought in 2. We just brought in 2 vets that have been starters before. 2 vets that were starters in their previous teams. They were starters in their previous right now. These are 2 players who were starters in their previous teams.
So I just want to see where you're coming from, day one. You don't think that they got Miles Jack and Zach Cunningham to play? They got them for backups, just in case.
No, they're not going to be backups. But it's like you're coming like all of a sudden Nakobe Dean is going to be he's going to fold or something. This man is going to year 2 after being drafted late.
I'm not saying he's going to fold. Why would I not? I'm sorry. Why would I not want my own? Why would I not want my own steal of a draft pick to go out there and go crazy? Of course I do, but I want him to show it. He's that player. He has to show it.
So you're saying he's in danger. So you're saying he's in danger of not making a 53-man roster?
No, not making.
He's in danger of
not playing.
He's probably gonna be a special teams player again.
He's probably gonna be in danger of only being a special teams player, bro.
You don't go sign 2 starting caliber linebackers
at once
if they're
in the same day.
Listen. Y'all been in camp for 2 weeks now, and after 2 weeks, the Eagles said we need to go work out 2 linebackers, and we need to sign them both.
Because our Eagles linebackers need mentoring, bro. They need vets. I understand those 2 guys are going to come in and start. I'm not. Those 2 guys are going to come in and start most likely. They do. All our linebackers are special teamers last year. Sean Bradley, Christian Ellis. Bro, Nakobe Dean, come on. What are we talking about?
Here's the thing, though, here's what I'm trying to say, though, bro. You think we brought Nakobe Dean in for him not to play? For him to sit behind players?
Right. He's injured right now as well.
He didn't come in. Bro, this is one of Georgia's best defensive players. He did not come in to sit. We drafted him for him to play. The fact that we just went and signed 2 linebackers in the same day in the same position shows that he got to go out there and show something more. He has to show more, bro. He got to show more.
There's a difference between getting depth pieces. Depth pieces is getting guys, that may or may not can make the roster. That's getting depth pieces. People that could come in there and compete. Y'all just got 2 legit starting linebackers. That says a lot, bro. That says a lot about what y'all got in that room right now, and on him as well.
He obviously has because we're weak at linebacker. He's our best linebacker. And that's not saying too much going into he's his second year. He's a special teamer all last year while also dealing with a pectoral injury they suffered in Georgia. That's like,
So
bro,
what do you
give him
so
time.
what do you
They
think
gave him
Miles
2
Jack
weeks.
and Zach? What do you think Miles Jack and Zach Cunningham was thinking in their mind signing that contract?
They're like, oh, we're gonna come
Did
in
you
and
think?
start. I agree with you, but I'm saying
Exactly.
I just feel like it's too early putting the Kobe Dean on his list already, like as if like he's in danger or something.
Yes,
Bro,
There's other linebackers. There's other linebackers that've been there longer that should be in danger, like Sean Bradley. He hasn't done nothing since he was drafted in 2020. Shout out to New Jersey, by the way. But still,
Yeah. Sean Bradley what was he? He was our third round draft pick.
he's a
Was
third
he
round
drafted
draft
in the
pick.
third? Yeah, he was
Yeah.
drafted in the third. That's cool. But
Kobe D was
then
drafted in the third as well.
exactly.
but he was a first round projected. Though.
Exactly.
He was a first round
He
projected.
fell because
Who was talked about more? Who was talked
Kobe
about
D,
more?
I understand that.
Who was the steal? Who was the steal of the draft? Who came off that national championship team? Who played with 5 of the other defensive players that's there?
I'm just saying, bro. I just don't think he's in danger. But hey, I
Bro,
respect it. I
he needs
respect
to
it.
go
I
out and
respect
do
it,
what
bro.
he gotta do.
I
He
respect
gotta
it.
do what he gotta do.
I respect it. All right, that's our top 3, man. Players who we think need to make an impact on the roster going into the 2023 season to get a spot on the 53-man roster, man. Let us know in the comment section what y'all think about our picks. Let us know if you think that we missed anybody. Let us know who y'all would add who's also in danger. Now, transitioning out of the NFL, we're going to move into the NCAA. NCAA has been having a lot of news lately involving these conference realignments and conference moves. We saw earlier that Oregon and Washington are going to be moving to the Big Ten. That's another 2 teams leaving the Pac-12. Can we address what's going on in NCAA and the issues about the conference realignments? Like, let us know, like, what y'all think about this, man. Hey, Dino, you kick it off, bro.
I mean, I think it's kind of sad, bro. Growing up and watching all these conferences, I kind of associated it more with area. The SEC, Southeastern Conference. I expect to see, the Big South teams, Alabama, all them schools. And then you go to the Big Ten, I expect to see the North teams, Michigans, the Ohio's, all of those, you know what I mean? Pac, you associate that with the West. What's going on right now is beyond me. I'm going to be honest. I mean, looking at the Big 12 loses 2 teams, and they lose 2 teams in Texas and Oklahoma, and then they go ahead and they add 6 teams. They add Colorado, Houston, UCF, I said UFC, UCF, ACU, Arizona, and BYU. Now, BYU was already talked about joining them before any of these other schools. And Cincinnati, that's 7 teams. I missed Cincinnati. Cincinnati is 7 teams that they added, which means they now have 16 teams in their conference. This is the Big 12. You got 16 teams, bro. Like, this is crazy. This is looking bad. I mean, SEC, they add 2 teams in Texas and Oklahoma. That's not even the worst. That's not even what looks bad. What really looks crazy to me is the Big Ten. The Big Ten now has 18 teams, and they add UCLA, USC, Oregon, and Washington. 4 Pac-12 teams that have never seen the snow a day in their life. Maybe Oregon, maybe Washington,
Maybe Washington. Yeah,
maybe Washington. Yeah, Washington definitely seen snow. But the other 3, bro, I don't get it. It's not really just about football here. It's not just about football. Football has the least. Yeah, it's a big money thing. That's the whole thing. The whole thing is all about funds and what's everybody bringing in, the TV deals and all that other stuff. But looking from the student standpoint, bro, football has the least amount of games out of all these schedules. Out of soccer, out of baseball, out of basketball, out of softball, they have the least amount of games. Meaning, what is it? It's 11-game season. 6 out of them 11 games they got to travel, or 5 they got to travel. And if you don't make a bowl game, you're not traveling again. But you talk about basketball, who's going to be, if you play for UCLA, who's a big basketball school, or Arizona, who's a big basketball school, you telling me you got to go to Ohio and back. You got to go to Michigan and back. You got to go all the way to Jersey and back. That's across the country. I lived in Cali for 3 years. I hated taking that flight. Like, and then you got to tell them they got to focus on school. They got to focus on all this other stuff. Like, I'm gonna be honest, it's not looking too good. This is not good. They didn't think about the wellness for the students at all. They didn't think about what can possibly occur on all of these, how mentals would be. They didn't think about none of that. Or they're thinking about the big dollar and what brings in more money. And then that just goes right into that NIL talk on why these kids should have more money, on why they should be getting paid. Look at what y'all doing to them. They're owned. They signed that scholarship. When you sign that NIL, you're owned. You don't have the choice to do nothing. You don't got the choice. You don't have no real voice. They own you. You do what they say do. And this, look at what's going on. They don't got no choice in this.
All right, Lil, you go ahead, bro.
So I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna look at it from two different perspectives. I'm gonna look at it from the football side, and then I'm gonna look at it from the school side. Looking at it from the football side, I watch sports television. I respect the people who are on television. But I seen the guy today, week 1 games and stuff like that, talking about, oh, there's only 2 games that, they're interested in playing and stuff like that. Don't you realize, like, the first 3 weeks of the season are teams that you pick? Those are teams that you pick to play. Like, whoever's playing week 1, they call you up, hey, we want to come play y'all. So don't get mad because of what conference you get. Get mad at the ADs and stuff for making them week 1 games. That's one. But two, like, just looking at the teams that are moving and stuff, like, it doesn't make sense. Especially why is Oregon and Washington, like, Washington has to now go play Rutgers? Like, that's 3,000 miles away. Like, that's all in a whole complete other side of the country.
Sick.
Especially for like a small, like, especially for teams that like play every team in their conference, like softball, baseball, teams like that who play like almost every team in their conference. So you telling me, like, on a Tuesday afternoon, I got to go take a flight to Washington, play a game, then fly back and be in class on Wednesday? That's what you're telling me? Like, no. Like, it's just they don't put the value into the student athlete. It's all about the money. It's all about dollars. Don't get me wrong. College football supports a lot of these teams. Like, a lot of these teams would not be able to function without college football, understandably. So, but at the end of the day, these are still student athletes. And let me tell you right now, I bet you the SEC, with the teams that they got, and they winning the national championship, they're bringing in money. LSU baseball is bringing in money. Florida baseball is bringing in money. Mississippi
Georgia
State
football
baseball is bringing in money.
LSU basketball.
Well,
Women's
football brings in
basketball.
money no matter what. Football is a conglomerate. That's the big money business. Basketball is number 2. Those are the 2 main sports that's going to bring in a lot of money. But I think it's more about, if you bring in the right people and build a team from the ground up, if you actually build a team, which we've seen smaller schools do, like UCF, they built solid teams in sports that made them, like, move up to the Big 12 Power 5. But they built solid teams, so they brought in a lot of money themselves. So I don't think it's all about. I don't think it's all about on where you play and who you play in the TV deals. It's about the people that you're bringing in, your AD, your coaches, your stuff like that. Like, for example, Colorado is they've been trash for so long with the coaches and stuff they've been bringing in there. But now that you get Deion and you think you can move up into the Big 12, like, that's a team that does not have no say at all in anything, in my opinion.
They've been trashing the Pac-12 for years.
They do not have a say at all. And then you leave out teams like Stanford. Like, Stanford has been on a downslide in football recently, but they definitely have a good basketball team, especially their women's team. Their women's team is one of the best teams in the nation. Think about, like, the women's team that, like, they're still in the Pac-12 as of right now. They're still in the Pac-12 with 4 teams. So like what do you do with a team like this? Another question: what's the Rose Bowl now? Like, one of the biggest college football games every year. Is that just no more now? Because it was Big 10 versus Pac-12.
Now it's gonna be like, what? How you gonna play?
What do you like? That's like tradition. Don't get me wrong. Like, over time stuff changed, but there's some traditions that just don't change. Like the civil, like in-state rivalries and stuff like that. Those traditions just don't change. For how long the Rose Bowl been going on, that tradition just did not change. Like, there's certain things that when you wake up on January 1st and December 31st and that Rose Bowl coming on, it's going to be Pac-12 versus Big 10. It's stuff like that you look forward to every year. You can't wait to see who, like, sometimes it's like, oh snap, if they don't get, like, even if they don't get in the playoffs, they got to the Rose Bowl. Like, they got to the Rose Bowl. Even that year that Ohio State didn't make the playoffs. It's like, oh, they in the Rose Bowl.
They in the Rose Bowl.
To go see them in the Rose Bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah, so like, it's stuff like that. And we kind of talked about this like last podcast. I was like, it's not all about like making it to the top, but being in the top. Because being in the top You get a Rose Bowl game. You get a Goodyear Bowl game. You get a Fiesta Bowl game. You get big games like that.
Orange Bowl,
And
Sugar
Orange Bowl,
Bowl.
stuff like that. Like those games still matter at the end of the game. Those games still bring in a lot of money. It's not a natty, but those games, I bet you we all here can't wait to watch those games every
Get a big
year.
ring.
Like those, yeah, like those are the biggest games. And like for some of these teams, bro, I just feel bad. I did have an idea of how they can fix it if they wanted to fix it. Just looking at the landscape of these teams, one is by doing away with the Pac-12 altogether, and then making 14 conference four conferences of 20 teams. I think that may just be the answer if we're going to do away for the Pac-12. And we're mentioning it
They're the same
before.
thing.
Y'all asked me, I think it was day one. You asked, do you think Pac-12 will always be a Power 5 team at this Power 5
That was me.
conference? Oh yeah, you asked,
Yeah,
will you
mhm.
think this will always be a Power 5 conference? Right now, no. They look like they're the odd man out at this point, just with the teams they got. Like I said, you lose them big brands, you lose everything. We're not going to watch Oregon State and Washington State. I'm sorry, it's just not
Yeah,
happening
not at all.
unless you're from that region of the country. And it sucks for the
Hey,
Pac-12.
It sucks.
That's
but
what looked like. That's who it looked like going to be in the Rose Bowl. So I guess I'm watching somebody.
I'm not watching that. I'm not watching that.
Hey, Oregon State's not that bad. Oregon State's not that
No, they're
bad.
not bad. They're not bad.
No,
But I'm not watching
knock
Washington
on
State.
them
I'm
at
not
all.
watching Cal. I'm not watching Stanford, who's been on downside for the last couple of years. I'm not watching that.
Yeah, no knock on them at all, but just like they were at a disadvantage just from location. Like they played like if you're on the East Coast, bro, their games are on at 1 a.m. like on a Saturday night. Like you're either out or you're in bed. Like you may turn it on if you're in bed just to watch it, but for the most part, it's just they got prime time games. At their 7 o'clock games is East Coast 10 o'clock. So like from that standpoint, it's a bad thing in my opinion. And they just really do not care about the student athlete.
All right, well, I mean, I can't really say too much because both of them already stole my thunder. Khalil, he be going on his long tangents and everything. So I'm gonna just have to keep it short and sweet. So yeah, Oregon and Washington leaving the Pac-12 for the Big Ten is pretty big news. Like the Pac-12 is just diminishing as we know it. But honestly, what I'm gonna touch on is the student athletes. I feel like these schools, they're continuing to show us more and more that they don't care about these student athletes and that it's all about the money and the viewership and the deals. It's like mental health is very important. Academics is very important. And with these conference realignments, taking these long flights from east to west and the time zone changes and all that stuff, you're still expecting these kids to be academically successful. And you're still expecting these kids to do great in class while all being a student athlete, like with their schedules and everything. And I feel like the colleges just care about the ratings and the money. And I feel like NIL plays a big role in this as well because they're like, oh, these kids are making money from their name, image, and likeness deals. We got them. We gave them the scholarship. Oh, they'll be fine. They got all this money as security. But this is showing why these kids should have been getting paid more than they should have been getting paid years ago besides the NIL stuff. The NIL should be paying them more. Hold on, sir. I did not cut you
I just got a question.
What's up?
No, I just got a question. But how many people you think are really getting real world money from them NILs?
Only the big names, but still, like, let's be real. A lot of these college players, they be getting paid low key by these schools. Let's be real.
Once that school but like,
well, it's only.
I'm thinking more like tennis teams, softball teams, like those smaller teams. Like, how many people really getting NILs from them? And like, because that's just
small ones, yeah. Small ones, yeah. Like
I agree because they don't bring that much viewership and stuff. That's why, that's why.
Yeah, I hear about a lot of them getting like smaller, like college town NIL deals, like a coffee shop will give you an NIL deal that's in the college town. You get your own little coffee make and you brand it that way or whatever. Like I hear about that with more of like other sports, softball players and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, them big $1 million Lambo and all that, they're not getting.
But you gotta understand, but because you gotta understand the players that get those deals, they're bringing the viewership and exposure and everything to these schools, like your Caleb Williams, like your Marvin Harrison Juniors, etc. So it's like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, like they're the reason why the schools are getting a lot of money and viewership. They should be deserving of getting those deals. They got a lot more national exposure than a tennis player, than maybe a softball player, than maybe a cheerleader. That's just the nature of the beast. But also, all in all, I'm gonna end it off. Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz, he spoke about traveling and how it's unfair to these teams and that the conference realignments is honestly silly, like involving the students' mental health. And you expect these kids to go out there and be great in class and adjusting their schedules to long plane rides. It just sucks. And he feels like college football is being ruined. But he's not the only one that feels like that. Head coach Jimbo Fisher also feels the same way. He feels like it's a money grab for the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, we're gonna have to see how this pan out. But I do agree with Khalil. I was thinking as well. They should just make 4 conferences for just 20 teams, because that's the best way you're gonna get out of it. We already seen that the college football playoffs is being expanded next year. Like, hey, so that's what I think about the NCAA situation.
I just feel like as well, like I think the people who are least affected by this is the football players. Like they're probably the
they
least
are.
affected. Because if you really think about it, those are the football and basketball. They're on the most strictest schedule from what they do, what they eat, from
because you're gonna be
class,
doing this,
everything.
because you're gonna be doing that when you go to the league. So it's like your job better get right now, pretty much.
And as well, their games are on the weekend. Like they leave out Friday to go fly into town to play a Saturday game and fly back. Like that's the weekend. Class is over. Most of them guys don't even have Friday classes just because of this situation.
Or Monday classes.
That's who it affects the most compared to the other teams who play during the week, who have to travel during the week. So I think like when you speak on mental health and stuff like that, like that's who it's really going to affect. It's going to affect the other guys. It's not going to really affect the football as much as the other guys.
All right, but that's it on that topic. That's all we're going to touch on for tonight for the NCAA. Let us know what y'all think about this news coming out. Let us know what y'all think about the NCAA doing all these conference realignments. Let's know how y'all feel about these student athletes, whether it's fair to them or not, and whether do y'all like the way that the NCAA is transitioning into. Y'all think it's a money grab, or y'all think it's justified? All right, last topic of the night, we're going to briefly sprinkle on the United States women's national team, how they lost to Sweden via penalty kicks. They lost 0-0, but really lost by penalty kicks.
Nigeria lost the same way.
Yeah, it happens. But when a team that's favored that much by the United States women's national team, who's been running dominant in the World Cups, it's like they weren't really expected to lose that game. So let's briefly touch on that. How do y'all feel about that loss? Like, do y'all think U.S. bounces back? Like, how do y'all feel about the state of the U.S. women's national team?
I think the U.S. women's national team has an internal issue. Just it kind of seemed like throughout this whole tournament, there wasn't focus on the right stuff. Like it just wasn't focused on the game plan. You go out there against Vietnam, you beat them 3-0, as you should. Honestly, it should have been more than that with the Vietnam team that they played. Then you go out there, you tie Netherlands 1-1. They got second place in the last World Cup. Good team as well, but I don't think they're going to win it either. But you go out there and tie with them, and then you go out there and tie with Portugal. Like Portugal, like come on, this is not America. This is not men's soccer. This is women's soccer. We're talking about. This is what we dominate. Yeah. It's like it's kind of like when you think about. It's kind of like if people who don't watch soccer, this is like comparing the men's national basketball team to other. This is what the women's are in soccer. So they go out there and tie, and then they wasn't mad because they tied her, and no, they're celebrating. They're taking pictures, signing autographs, dancing, the whole 9 yards. Like y'all just did not tie. Like y'all not playing good. And I feel like it starts with leadership. It starts with the people at the top. I'm not going to bash anybody right now, but it starts with the leadership and the people at the top, and it works its way down, especially when you have a young team. They said it was a lot of questionable things with the coach, but if you listen to some of the people like Carly Lloyd, who used to play, like she was kind of disgusted with what she saw going on with this team. So I think there's a lot of problems they got to fix, and hopefully they get it done by the Olympics next year.
What's up, Dino? Talk to us, bro.
Really, just to piggyback off you, Lil, I do feel like it's also an interior type of thing. I mean, watching them from years before, man, they look so swift and in sync with each other. I feel like that was something that they really had off going into this one. So, I mean, they're gonna bounce back. They're gonna bounce back. They're gonna always bring in the best players. And they're gonna always get better as long as they fix what's going on entirely within each other. I think they'll be fine. That loss to Sweden, of course, is gonna hurt. Any loss hurts, but it just gives you a chance to come back and be a stronger team next time.
Yeah, just to end it off, man. I'm honestly very disappointed in the U.S. women's national team. Like, this is a team that has been dominant for years. Like, the U.S. men's national team, let's be real, they type trash, bro. Like, we were always expecting the women to go
They're
out
on the
there and
come up.
dominate
They're on the
these.
come up. They're getting
They
better.
want to come up, but
They are
but
getting better.
it's taken a long time. The last time this U.S. World Cup team was actually men's team was actually pretty good was in 2008. That was 15 years ago. It's bad math, but
it made me sound old, bro. I ain't even that old.
hey, but besides the point, this women's team has been dominating for years now, and we lost like players like Carly Lloyd, Alex Morgan, and stuff. But we still got some thuds on this women's national team. But the games that they tied or barely beat these teams, those are like, in my opinion, those are gimmies. Like, I'm not disrespecting those other national teams, but it's like the dominant level that we know our women's national team can play at, and then the results of those games is like, what are we doing? And I feel like it is an internal problem within that team, start from the coach down. I feel like the women's team was mainly focused on like a lot of politic and American national issues than they were on playing soccer. I'm not saying they can't voice their opinions on this kind of stuff, but I feel like their focus was mainly that. And I feel like their head wasn't in the games. Like we saw the way they played. It wasn't a U.S. women's national team that we've seen for the last couple cups in years. It's like it was kind of disappointing. So a lot of us Americans are disappointed, but U.S. women's team, they got great depth. They're gonna be back, man. Don't worry, they'll bounce back. But this was a pretty sour loss.
I got to take. This was a bigger disappointment than when the U.S. men's national team did not even qualify in 2018. This is a bigger disappointment than that, and that was a major disappointment. This is bigger than that.
Yeah, like I said, we don't really expect too much from the men's national team. Well, that is it for our podcast tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That is episode 3. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Before the Horn podcast. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever platform you're watching or listening on. Continue to give us feedback. Continue to give us love. We appreciate everything we got so far. Hey, we want to come up, man, but we can't take off or turn up without y'all support, man.
Oh yeah, so as y'all know, for as little as $2 a month, you guys could do your part and support us as for joining our Patreon. You know, we are self-funded, so we all still got our 9-to-5s. We all still go work, as well as me. I still go to college. So we're doing this out of our free time to bring this content to y'all, and we hope y'all love it. If you like hats, if you like shirts, we're gonna be dropping merch soon. So that's the best way to get into those. On top of that, if you like to interact with us, if you like to hear what we got to say, and we love to hear what you guys got to say, Patreon is the best way to do so. So, you know, we really thank y'all for any type of support that you guys can give, and we really appreciate it all.
Sure. I mean, we've been appreciating the support we've been getting on social media, stuff like that. We will be having more content coming soon. Don't worry. There's going to be a lot more coming soon. We just building up the groundwork right now, but keep showing love, keep interacting with us. Like we said before, we cannot do this without y'all. So we appreciate all the love and support we've been getting and the feedback that we've been getting as well. Till next time.
Yeah, man. Hey, follow all our personal Instagrams. They're right in the bottom corner of the screens. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe. Whatever platform you're listening on or watching on, we appreciate all the support. Thank y'all for tuning in Before the Horn podcast. Have a great night.